Okay, just bear with me, I'm just getting the live stream up and running. Shouldn't take too long. So I've shortcut this slightly in that I've told the airplane to get itself ready, so I don't have to work through the checklist. Okay, so we are at... Actually, let's see where we are on the startup. Engines are up and running. Let's go and go with the warnings. So flight recorder is not on, which is interesting. It really ought to be on. I'm just having a check round. It's very rare that I let this aeroplane start itself. So I'm just looking around to see what it hasn't done. It's fascinating, isn't it, when you kind of let the system take over and then you can't trust what it's done. Fascinating. Okay, so if we go back down to the center console, I'm just checking around each of the banks of switches to see what's been put where. We have the weather radar working, which is really nice for a change. Okay, anyway, so the TMS hasn't been switched on though, which is interesting, so we'll put that into takeoff mode. Just check the throttle movement. I've got both banks of throttles working, that's all good. Just make sure the flap lever's working. Is it working? Yes it is. It just took a while to register that. So spoilers are working. Okay, so we need to program our route into the aircraft, and we can get rid of this out of the way now. So it's a simplified system on this aeroplane. So it's saying we've got no flight plans, we should be able to delete. Oh no, we can't delete the message, that's interesting. I always forget what's modelled and what isn't in these various aeroplanes. So we're going from ESNU, which is Umeå, ESNU, ESNU, and we're going over to Kiruna, ESNQ, ESNQ. Okay, we're not going to be doing airways, so we don't need to go to the next page. We can go straight for departure arrivals. So we're departing runway 32 and then doing the Soppel 2L departure. So 32 and Soppel 2L. And execute that. Come back to arrivals. We're going to be doing the Terp 1S into runway 21. So arrivals, ILS 21Z, Terp, no, was it 1S? Yeah, Terp 1S. And the D023 left transition and execute that. And then if we go and look at the legs page, where we got discontinuity after Sopley, we're going to go to SCAR, SLU and NAT. SKA. Probably get a duplicate, I would imagine. Yeah. So let's just double check this. So show information for SCAR, and it's 6437. It's the ES, which is Sweden. Waypoint, and then next. So before we get to Terpa, we need to go to SLU, SLU, U. Put that on top of Turbo, which will push it down. And again, it's the ES coded one. And then NAT following slew. So NAT. So just VOR hopping along the way, basically. Now, this is a different kettle of fish look. So if we go show information 6644. Let's just go and have a double check of this. The natter. There's only one page here. So maybe we're not doing the NAT one. Okay, we'll remove that from the flight plan. I had this happen the other day and everybody said, oh, you know, you missed a letter out, but I've definitely typed NAT. Okay, we'll clear that. So maybe I need to do an update of Navigraph. But we're not going to worry too much about it, so we'll clear that out of there. And we'll just go legs and execute our changes so far. Now if we go next page, you'll see there's a discontinuity. What that's talking about is here between the start and the approach we've got a small discontinuity. So I'm just going to close the gap up on that one. So we'll select D023L, go to previous and pull it up over the top and press execute. And that's our flight plan done. So it would appear we are not freezing into a lump here today, but before we get going I thought it might be fun to go and show you around the airfield. I've gone to the wrong view, haven't I? So let's just go and slow the zoom of the drone view down a bit so we can fly around with it. Zoom in a bit, come down. So here's our BAE 146 that we're going to be flying, which is the same aeroplane we used on the departure flight from Scandinavian Mountain Airport when we came over to Umeå. But the interesting thing is going to have a look around Umeå. So I already covered this in detail in the previous video, but we'll go and have another look for those that didn't see it. So yeah, those of us that don't know the language, and I'm one of them, might think this is Umeå. It's not, it's Umeå. So let's go down into the building and follow the corridors around and see if we can actually find our way. Very cool. Okay, so down past the... Obviously we're coming in the wrong end of the building. This is the baggage pickup on arrivals. Various shops and check-in desks. We're getting down to the other end of the building now, aren't we? So do your bag drops. I presume you would then... Can we go through the wall here? No, we can't. Let's go and jump over and come back in the other side. So this is the cargo entrance, obviously. And see the departure hall, which I'm presuming is in here. We've obviously just skipped around the outside of it. Yeah, so we've got the various desks and gates out onto the tarmac, or hard standing I should say. I looked around this properly the other day, but there's a nice bar area here which you'd expect to see. There's a few little bugs in it, like it snows indoors, which is quite the Harry Potter kind of experience, I guess. I'm not going to spend too long looking around. There's lots of people stood around. I love it when they do this in the airfield, in the airport buildings, and have the buildings. It just gives them a bit more character, doesn't it? So the real takeaway, though, from places like Umeå, is look at the snowdrifts around the edges of the parking areas where the trucks have pushed the snow off. It's very cool. It's very nicely done. Okay, so here's our aeroplane waiting for us. The engines are running. We've programmed the flight plan. It just remains for us to prepare the aeroplane, taxi out, go and get on with our flight. So what we're going to do is press Shift and P to get the truck to push us out. So while we're waiting for that, we'll go and have a look at the airfield here. So we're wanting to be pushed back, and then we're going to turn left and go and backtrack down the runway. So the actual runway direction we want is 310 degrees. So let's go and get that programmed in on the heading bug. Also, we need to make sure we are on RNAV mode for GPS, but we'll get the heading bug round to 310 degrees. So it's 330, 320, and you can see the GPS track is actually pointing the right direction already. So come off the parking brake, and the truck can actually push us backwards now. There are controls, if you weren't aware, in the tablet for this aeroplane to control the taxi. So you can actually use this and steer left or right, so we might want to be pushed right, for example. But you have to connect it and actually use it, so it doesn't use the stock control for the truck. So I've put the parking brake back on for the moment until he's out of the way. Okay, so I've got the landing lights on at the moment. I should have taxi lights on, really. Again, that's part of me shortcutting the startup. Okay, we need to set an initial climb altitude. We're going to fly out to 25,000 feet. So I'm just going to, if we go and have a look, I don't think we're going to have much in the way of there's no restrictions on the climb out, so we can go straight for 25,000. So we will need to manage our barometric pressure and speed on the way out, obviously, but not really much to worry about. So 25,000, let's arm that. Just make sure the flight directors are on. They are. We've done the heading. We can set LNAV mode, or we should be able to pre-select it, and we'll set vertical speed once we engage autopilot after takeoff. Okay, let's go and get down to the other end of the runway, shall we? Just checking that the nav radios are on. It looks like they are. And let's go and turn the head tracking on, shall we? So we have to trudge over to this corner. Turn this tablet back off. Just click on the flip chart down there. Did this set the speeds? No, it didn't, look. So I've just clicked on the flip chart over here, which sets the rotation speeds for the aircraft configuration. It's a bit of a shortcut that Just Flight have built into it. Let's hope the visibility is a bit better at the other end. Hey, when we flew into here, was it the day before yesterday? We were down to about 500 feet when we finally saw the runway. It was no fun at all. So we are going to bear left. Could probably do with slowing down a little bit. Make sure I don't go sliding across the runway. Oh, here we go, kamikaze van. So let's make sure we're going the right way. Yes, we are. So we'll give the van a little bit of a berth. I think our engine will probably clatter him though, if he really was there. So I'm just going to double check the live stream. I can't see. Oh, here we go. We've got some comments coming up now in the live stream. I was wondering whether it was broken. Normally people say hello. So it's quite dull today. I might turn some internal lights on, you know. We'll deal with that in a moment. There is a trick in the simulator actually. If you press L, yeah, just pressed it twice. The landing lights have come on now, obviously. But you also normally get the internal lights, but it doesn't look like they're doing much, which is interesting. So let's slow down. Spin the aeroplane around. We're into the wind.
TMS set to take off.
Yep, I've already done the TMS system, that's all good. We've already got, I'm just double checking things really. Let's just double check the barometric pressure. So the automatic startup of the airplane didn't do barometric pressure either. Interesting. Okay, here we go. So we'll be using the attitude indicator on climb out because we're going to lose visibility very quickly. We are being pushed around a little bit on the runway. You can see I'm fighting it a small amount.
V1. Rotate.
It needs to
V2.
rotate. Keep an eye on attitude indicator, so gear up. Keep an eye on the speed. Down a little bit, let it accelerate. Flaps up. Okay, have I got a flap lever problem here? Yes, I have. So bear with me a moment, I'm just coming off the throttle. I'm going to pull the controls out. I should have done a full range test of the flaps. Yeah, flaps are working now. Good. Flaps are up, full throttle again. So autopilot can come on. We're in LNAV mode, let's hold vertical speed. Actually no, let's not hold vertical speed, let's encourage it to climb. Vertical speed mode engaged, and once we're stable, so obviously you can see we're doing a right turn at the moment. Once we're stable, we'll increase the climb rate slightly. So we'll let it complete this turn and straighten up. We're going far too fast. That's me worrying about the vertical speed. Just shows, doesn't it? If you don't fly an airplane regularly, things can get away from you very, very quickly. It's okay, so we're looking good now. Let's push this out to about 1800 feet a minute climb. Vertical speed mode on. And we can change the TMS mode now to sync. And just keep an eye on the airspeed. So we're going a little bit too quickly. Just come off the throttle for a moment. Have we got is it ice detected? Yeah. Okay, so we'll go and put the engine anti-ice on, the wing anti-ice and the tail anti-ice on. That's just telling us there's ice. So somebody is asking in the live stream comments, how did I do the smooth braking? I've got a lever on the just shows that I look away to look at the live stream comments and we dip 30 knots. I've got a lever on my quadrant for the spoilers. It's actually an axis. It's always the way though, isn't it? You end up fighting control problems and they disrupt what would have been a nice smooth departure. It just shows how a distraction can escalate really quickly. Okay, I'm going to turn the head tracking off for a moment because it's being a pain. So we've still got ice being detected. Should be fine now. Got lots of fuel. So we've got outside air temperature, it's about minus 7-ish, 6-ish, something like that. So it's no wonder we've got ice detection. And again, we're in the middle of cloud. Shall we look outside? So we're coming up through 7,000 feet, so we should have gone to standard barometric pressure by now, so let's do that. 2992. And I think this is synchronized in this aeroplane, so yeah, we've got 2992 on the standby attitude indicator, 2992 on the co-pilot as well. And then when we get to 10,000 feet, we've gone beyond 250 again, look. This thing, I think we must be passing through differing wind directions, because this is a struggle to hold 250 knots. And yes, I know we can set the speed marker and it will indicate to us if we're ahead or behind. So you can see the marker here, gives you a visual indication of how much room you've got left. Okay, you've gone through 10,000 feet, so the landing lights can come off. Have we still got ice? Yes, we've still got ice detected. But I'm sure that will switch off fairly soon. And we can look outside for a bit. I guess what we could do is go and have a look on Navigraph and see what the weather's like at the other end. So we'll go into LittleNavMap and copy the flight plan to the clipboard. Unload what's in here, do a new flight, paste it in and press enter, and that gives us our basic route. But then we can upload the weather onto the charts. So we've got cloud cover going on, but we're really interested below 10,000 feet, so 6,000 maybe. Yeah, it's going to be cloudy, isn't it? What about 2,000 feet? Still cloudy. Oh my word. But it's clearing over the airport, so it's just the approach is going to be a bit dicey. So let's fill the rest of this in. We were coming in runway 21, weren't we? And we're doing the ILS Z21 with the DO23 transition, which will give us then the diagram. So we're flying on the edge of the cloud as far as Navigraph thinks it's there. So it's going to be fun. Still got ice detected. Okay, so Iron Man says howdy. Howdy back to you. Oh hey, yep, what's just happened there? We've just lost you. Okay, the throttle has just gone wrong. We lost throttles. This happened the other day. The controller disconnected itself let's just cancel the alarm. So the controller, I've got something going wrong with the USB controllers at the moment. The controller disconnected itself, therefore it gave it 0 throttle for the last couple of minutes, which then put us into a stall situation. When we loaded up and I couldn't control the flaps, similar situation. I think this is a Thrustmaster Quadrant. They're not known for their build quality. So I may very soon be changing controllers. Okay, so autopilot's back on. LNAV mode is back on. Altitude is armed. And we're climbing a little bit steeply, so I'm just using the trim to bring this back to about 1500 feet a minute would be fine. Okay, so vertical speed mode, so it should hold that. Should we go for max continuous thrust until we are at altitude? So you can see we're not going that fast still, even now. So yeah, it's been a problem just recently with this controller causing absolute mayhem with the simulator from time to time. So I think I'll need to dig into my pockets and have a look at some of the other controllers that are around. I can't complain about this Thrustmaster kit. I've been using it for 2 years. It's been very, very good. So this is live weather. So yeah. You never know what you're going to get with live weather. That's what makes it fun. Presumably, yeah, we're above it on the radar now, so we're not going to see it. Did you see those legs just flicker? There's something odd going on, isn't there? It's still got ice detection going on. Well, I'm going to take a bit of a cavalier response to this and turn the anti-ice off. I can't see how any ice is going to form on the aeroplane this far above the cloud. He says, famous last words. We'll be watching a disaster recovery video in a few minutes, won't we? Did we turn the landing lights off? Yes, we did. So what other lights have been switched on? This is the problem, because I let the aeroplane get itself ready. I'm now wondering what we've got switched on. The logo lights don't really need to be on. Nav on, strobe on, beacon on. Taxi are the opposite way on the landing lights. I'm just wondering where the wing lights are. Is that a wing light? I guess that's the anti-ice lights, isn't it? So where are the anti-ice lights? Are they up here? That's the internal lights, though, isn't it? Oh, wing lights, there we go. So oh no, they're still on. How bizarre. Normally the purpose for them is so you can see a reflection on the leading edge. Are there any other lights on that we're not aware of? Let's go and have a look. Wing lights are now off. Entry lights were off. Logo lights are off, cabin emergency lights are armed, no smoking is on, beacon is on, strobe is on, nav is on, high intensity, Yeah, so that's a bit of a mystery. The wing light should have come off. Maybe there's a bug. I'm always loath to say there's a bug though, because it's usually that I've done something stupid. And a commenter will always step forwards and tell me. So we're just coming up to 25,000. In a short while, we're still climbing at speed, so should we reduce our climb rate? So come off the vertical speed, pitch down a little bit, vertical speed back on, and that should help. Yeah, we're picking up speed there. You can see the needle moving gently. Nothing happens quickly in a BAE 146. So, while we're waiting for all of that to happen, let's go and have a look at the map. So we're following the GPS track out towards Kiruna. So 25,000 feet points towards 75 miles out. So this is marking top of descent at 70 miles out. So obviously we've got spoilers as well in the BAE 146, so we can come down quite steeply if we need to. But yeah, so shortly past the NAT VOR that we couldn't tune in for some reason. I wonder if we can pick it up, even though it didn't appear on the GPS. 11300, it's got a range of 80 miles. How far would a 80 mile range be then? That far. That's telling us we're within 1,000 feet of our target altitude. Yeah, so I completely agree with Ronnie has just said in the live stream chat. I've always flown this with radios. The GPS makes it easy. It does. But I'm doing a live stream and I'm trying to comment and read and just fly the route. To be honest, flying SIDS and stars becomes a real bind if you're having to do it all. You have to do RNAV basically, don't you? It becomes quite restrictive, the routes you can do if you're using SIDS and stars, if you're only doing radio. So it does have its time and place, and I do absolutely love the workload of, you know, manipulating the radios and trying to figure out mentally where you are by looking at the instrumentation. Oh, I meant to start ACARS before I started this. I'm testing a new system. I meant to start it, but I haven't. Oh well. I'll save it for another video. So this is brand new news to the entire community, really, that I am looking at another airline management system with a much better ACARS than we have at the moment. But we'll wait and see with that. There's a lot of groundwork needs to be done because it manages the economy side of it as well. So I need to program aeroplanes in, program what seats they've got, do the integration. Well, the integration with Simbrief is already working. So you can get your aeroplane from Simbrief and it fills you in with how many passengers you're carrying, and then you know how much money you're making, and if you're running late, you lose money per minute you're running late. It's quite the ordeal. While you are flying, you are judged on numerous factors, including all sorts of facets of the aircraft's performance. So it's going to be interesting, but there's going to be a lot of hard work is needed first to configure it before I let anybody anywhere near it. And it may be that we don't actually go ahead with you know, launching this new airline system, because it may be that it's just too difficult and too complicated for people. Okay, so let's have a look at the distances left. So if we go to, this is a progress page somewhere, doesn't it? It's in the index. So estimated time en route to SLU is 3 minutes. Then 18 minutes to Turpa, 25 to our destination. I can feel my voice breaking up. I think one of my daughters has got a bad cold. I'm hoping I haven't caught it. Yeah, the ice detection is switched off completely now. Look, it's looking good. Right, while we have a few minutes flying en route, I'm going to go and run out and make myself a coffee, because I haven't had one since I finished work earlier. So I'm going to put the kettle on. So I'll leave this flying en route. I'll just check the volume levels. It seems very loud to me, but I think that's just me. Yeah, it's just my volume. Okay. I'll leave that flying en route, following the autopilot. Hopefully the controls don't put another spanner in the works. If they do, I'll be running back to save the aeroplane. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes. see where we are then. And we're overspeeding, of course we are. Because this aeroplane just doesn't know when to quit. We're trying to kill me. Okay. So Christian is saying he's currently looking at beginner flight planning with the G1000. G1000 is great. It helps you so much to visualize things, and yeah, it's just very, very good. And programming, I didn't realize for a long time that you could program airways into it and things like that. So I revisited that recently in a video. Wow, look at those clouds. Mind you, I've got to descend through them soon. I shouldn't be saying wow. I should be saying oh no. It's a rainbow there. Beginning of a rainbow anyway. Yeah, that is crikey. What's the ice detector saying? What was the outside air temperature? It's minus 38. Oh my word. But I was watching a video about this. It can actually be too cold for ice to form. So just back reading through everything here. I should try the A310. Oh, sorry, Kamatsky should try the A310. The Antonov 225, that's good fun as well. I think the A300's better than the 310, but then that's because Ini builds didn't have to conform to Asobo's restrictions with the way it was built. So the A300 has a lot more functionality than the A310. It's just reading Sway's comment, at minus 40 ice won't accumulate yet. It's a lot less than that actually. I do recall, it was a couple of years ago now, listening to an airline captain on a podcast talking about it and saying, yeah, it was around the same time that the simulator was forming ice too much. And he was saying what the real world parameters are for ice formation. But it certainly wasn't anywhere near minus 40. It was, around the minus 20s that it will stop doing it. I guess when the particles are that cold, they won't adhere. So it turns into dust essentially, or behaves in the same way. So it just passes over the aeroplane and doesn't adhere to it. Am I using VR? At the moment I'm holding the right mouse button down and moving the mouse around. Old habits die hard. I have got a Tobii Eye Tracker here, so if I turn that on it will become very obvious, because obviously I can move my head around. Okay, we're probably getting fairly close to top of descent, so we need to be a little bit mindful of that, and of ILS. We can get ILS programmed in. 110.3, 204 degrees. So let's turn the air tracking off a moment. So 204 degrees on the course for nav1 and nav2. A nice trick I discovered the other day is even when this is an RNAV, nav2 still works as an HSI in split mode. You can see it doing it now, look, the course is changing. What's the frequency of the radio? 110.30. So 110.30 is already programmed in, that's spooky. 110.30. Obviously it's not picking anything up just yet. We will be, although we're on altitude hold at the moment, have we got any descent So we've got above 10,000 feet at Turpa, which is just coming up here. So we can get down to 10,000 then for Turpa, or just above 10,000. So let's go and put ourselves down to 10,500, arm it, and we'll begin descending. So we'll need to come off the throttles, obviously. So 1,000 feet a minute, probably go more than that. 2,000 feet a minute, vertical speed. Just to hold it, keep an eye on the indicated airspeed, because obviously we need to manage the throttles on the way in. Let's get sync mode back on. We should be good to go. We can cheat, as I showed you the other night on LittleNavMap. You can see your descent rate. So you can see at least we're aiming just above that 10,000 marker on the map, which is great. We've got plenty of time to descend. Again, it's above 10,000. Doesn't mean we have to get to 10,000. So we could be aiming for the marker over here. So we could come off the vertical speed a little bit. So let's just pull the nose up gently to say 1,500 feet a minute, or thereabouts. Just fishing around with the trim to try and get the vertical speed where I want it. That'll do. Yeah, that's looking good. So we'll come in the right sort of rate. So you can see that happening there. It would be useful to find out the barometric pressure at the airfield. So transition altitude is 6,000 feet, and we're 2,968 in inches once we get down below 6,000 feet. So Christian's saying, enjoy your flight, this still looks too frightening to me. I just learned the C152 with all the basics, now it's time to learn the G1000. Yeah, but now you've got the bug, haven't you? So let's keep an eye on that ice detection. We're coming down into the cloud, although it's probably still too cold. The temperature is dropping though, look, it's down to about -30 out there now. Big old rainstorm over there. So that you would imagine then, if that can form rain, then that can adhere to us because it's liquid water. And there's another one here, look. And there's this wall of cloud we're going to fly into. The nice thing about, just reading the live stream comments, the nice thing about the BAE 146 that I commented on previously, yeah, here we get ice detected, that I commented on previously, is it makes sense. So when you do something, you can see the effect of it happening. And you get these nice warnings pop up. You can see the needles moving around, obviously because I've been busy talking today and had some controller problems. Caused a fair bit of mayhem. So we need to be down for 250 knots when we get to 10,000 feet as well, by the way. And get ready to put the landing lights on as we come through that. Not that we'll be able to see anything for a while. But we'll see. I don't think there's any wind at the destination, it's just a cloud hovering around, menacingly. Yeah, so there we go. Sway's just said, looked in his meteorology book, super cooled water droplets start becoming... I can't read because there's an icon in the way on the stupid YouTube design. They put a heart icon at the bottom right of the window. This becomes smaller at -20. So Paradiski says, evening boss. Evening to you too. So here we go, it's going to get scary now. We've got the anti-ice measures on. So we're going to go into this spectacular looking cloud system. Should look from outside as this happens. Just a big wall of clouds. And out the other side. It's not too bad, is it? I think it might just be broken all the way in, to be honest. We might be lucky. If you remember when we looked on Navigraph, we're going to be skirting the edge of most of it. So I think it's worse over there. So, just coming down through 14,000 feet. Let's have a look at this, that altitude plot on LittleNavMap. That's looking good. So this will level us out. We're targeting 10,500, remember. So we could almost bring that down to 10,000 actually. We're making good progress. I think about 270 knots at the moment, 275. Engines are on sync mode. Doing the turn, so that's the turn out towards the approach. So we're on the standard terminal arrival route now. And I think we might be lucky. We might just have broken cloud all the way in. It's not like we're going to completely lose visibility entirely. It's going to make it look quite spectacular. Outside. It is odd how the wing lights have stayed on. They're definitely turned off. Wing lights are off. The landing lights and taxi lights are off. Oh, it's the runway exit lights. That's what's... I'm being an idiot. There we go. Solved it eventually. Again, it's just unfamiliarity with the aeroplane. If I flew it all the time, I would know the answers to these things straight away. But I don't. Yeah, we're lucky, look. We're on the edge of this big cloud system, just skirting it, which is quite useful, really. So if we go and look at the progress screen on the FMC, or FMS I should say. So 3 minutes until NIMSO, 16 miles to run. 40 miles out from the airport now, less than 10 minutes away. So we're at 10,000 feet, so landing lights can come on now, and we'll carry on down. What's the next target altitude? So above 4,000, so we'll go for 4,500 at the next target. And we'll come off of altitude hold, trim the nose down. 1,000 feet a minute to begin with, and then we'll review how we're doing. That's about right. Vertical speed. We can keep the speed under 250 knots now, just moderate the throttle as needed. apart, doesn't it? It's very nicely modelled. It's one of the best, I think it's one of the smartest looking aeroplanes in the simulator. It's very smooth as well. Tonka toy switches. The funny thing is they're illuminated from inside, so each of them has a light inside it. So in the dark, it looks like really does look like a children's toy. But it's of its time. It was built in the early 80s, so it's very much of its time. There's a lot of unique systems in the aeroplane, bits and pieces like the thrust modulation system, which you won't see in many other aeroplanes at all. Down to 8,000, how are we doing? Yeah, we're just about on track. So we're getting a bit fast, we're just edging up to 250 knots, so let's come off the throttle a little bit. So 6,000 feet, wasn't it, was the transition altitude. Yeah, you can see it there in the chart. So although this is drawn as straight lines, the aeroplane obviously will do a natural curve when it gets to that point. What does the UA mean? That's a really good question. I don't know is the answer to that. It's the end of the registration, so I don't know if that's anything to do with it. Scenery is quite something, isn't it? So coming down through 6,000 feet now, so what were the numbers we wanted for the weather? 2968. So 2968 for the barometric pressure on the altimeters. It's funny, I often get Americans saying I say altimeter funny. No, Americans say altimeter funny. Same as aluminum and aluminium and numerous other words. What's the old saying that's two countries separated by a common language? I'm sure lots of people speak English far better than I make attempt to. Okay, we're dropping down towards 4,500 feet. Oh, I hadn't armed it. Good job I looked. This is why you double check things, ladies and gentlemen. So, you can see now we're coming down into the business end of this. You can actually, I forget how you do this. Yeah, you can reduce the vertical range to give yourself more of a view of it. So we should, after making our turns, if you look where we are on the map, we're about to turn left. Here it goes. So I'm going to get off the speed. So pull the power back. We need to lose some speed now. So as soon as we straighten up on runway direction, which is going to be 204 degrees, so let's put our heading bug on 204 to give ourselves a reminder of where that is. The runway is going to be over that way. So at the moment the aeroplane is doing its best to glide down. So you can see we're still quite high, but we've got until CI 21Z to start descending a bit further. But we can start that process now. So we're in altitude hold. If we just ease the nose down a little bit. because it's going to be in the next minute or so, and then go vertical speed mode. So I just want to wait until the aeroplane matches is turning now, look, for the runway direction.
2500.
And it's going to overshoot. Interesting. So the throttles are pulled back to the stops. So now we can go to nav mode. And we can go LNAV. He says, famous last words, why is he not doing it? Okay, we're going to turn the autopilot off because it's no longer doing anything for us. I don't know why it wouldn't engage.
Speed checked below 205. Select flaps 18. Speed check below 205. Select gear down.
Gear down. Flaps down. Okay, we're manual then. That's fine. So we're just looking at the HSI here and the glide slope and hand flying it, so I am in control. I won't turn the head tracking on because it's easier for you to see this on a nice stable screen, isn't it? Let's level our view out a little bit. So we're drifting high, look. So we'll get nose down. We are going to have pretty poor visibility again, aren't we? I seem to really be picking the routes at the moment. We're drifting off to the right. So there is a crosswind, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't need to be crabbing to hold the runway direction. So keeping an eye on trim and we're hoping we're going to see the runway. I really am good at picking these routes at the moment, aren't I? Going low, so nose up.
Speed checked below 170. Select flaps 30.
Done. Really are going low.
Speed check below 145. Select flap 33.
Done. Oh, we have some visibility at last. We are low though. Though it said there shouldn't be too much wind around, we do seem to be drifting around a little bit. Yeah, you can see the snow is appearing a little bit and it was going sideways. So we just concentrate now on the HSI and the glide slope. Whoa, we're too slow. So that's the stick shaker kicking in. Just and we can see the runway. Need to be about 10 knots faster than we are going. And we can see the PAPI lights even, which is obviously telling us that we're far too high now. So obviously increased power, the anticipation of running away from this. So we're coming in quite steep, but this aeroplane can do this sort of thing quite easily. Whoa, it's going to stick shake us into the ground. We were level when we touched the ground. Oh, that was a shame. The real interest here is to come and have a look at the airfield. Oh, just while we're braking. I don't know if it's going to do it. No, it's not. Oh, there we go. I love the way the wings open up on this and the air brakes. Flaps back up and put the spoilers back away. Yeah, so we kind of pancaked the runway level rather than doing a nice graceful flare, which was a shame. Again, just trying to do too many things at once without really preparing properly. Should have done a go around really. So we're going to, I don't think there's a taxiway, I think we have to backtrack. Let me just double check. Yeah, I have to backtrack. There seems to be room here to turn. So we'll leave the landing lights on until we're off the runway at least. We have several phone numbers for you to call, one of which will be the heavy landing department. That was not my finest hour. I do wonder though if that was something to do with the throttle again, because I suddenly lost an awful lot of thrust and ended up having to push the throttle a long way forwards and suddenly it picked up. So I'm wondering if it's the same problem I had earlier. It was very odd. Now it just suddenly seems to cut. Because we had that happen while I was in cruise, where my yoke was in one place and the throttles in the airplane had obviously moved to a completely different place. Hopefully it doesn't mean my throttle is about to die, but crikey, that means I have to start shopping, doesn't it? The Arena Arctica. Interesting. So I've not been here. This is Kiruna. This is the third of the triple pack from Orbx of Swedish airfields. Look at the snowbanks everywhere. It's cool, isn't it? Just being nosy now. I'm going to taxi round past everywhere. So that appears to be a dash of some description, possibly. So I'll take it out in the drone camera in a moment so we can go and have a look at this properly. If we just park here on the line. They've got a digital clock on the end of the airport, the Kiruna Airport Terminal. Awesome. Okay, so I guess we should shut down, shouldn't we? So one of the nice things you can do if you've not seen the 146 before, it's got nicely I haven't got here in time to show you that. So let's go and put these stairs out. It's going to be a bit drafty in the cockpit, isn't it? It's very nicely done. Look at that ice forming. As soon as we stopped, it's just turning into a huge icicle. So I've only been to this part of the world once, and when we left the airport that we were departing from, they had basically several trucks drove up and dumped about 1,000 gallons of de-icer all over the aeroplane. It's quite scary to see happen. Okay, let's go to the drone camera. I'll just center it up first, and then we'll go for a fly with it. So this is interesting. The drone camera has reset its parameters while we were in the air. So I told you something weird was going on. So let's go and have a look. So before we go inside the building, let's have a look around the outside first. So this is Kiruna Airport in the northern wilds of Sweden. Looks amazing, doesn't it? I love that they've modelled the snowdrifts where they've pushed the snow off the taxiways. And it really does. This weather is, obviously this is live weather, so this is what they face up here. -9. Let's go and have a look around inside then in the warm. So that seems to be a room that doesn't go anywhere, but this room goes places. So these are the departure gates, I'm guessing. Can we read their screens? I'm guessing that's going to be the guy taking the photograph for Orbx reflected in the screen. Very cool. I love when they go to this length of, you know, having all the little details. Obviously that building doesn't go anywhere around that corner. I wonder if there's anywhere next door that we can have a look. Yeah, this has been simplified. I don't actually mind when they simplify buildings because it obviously reduces the frame rate enormously. Or increases the frame rate, sorry. Reduces the load. Wow! It's got the old card system for the ATC. That's fantastic. So this is how things used to work. With sliding the cards down. Very cool. No big screen here. That's amazing actually that they haven't got any great big monitors, they've just got the old card system. And the radar screens obviously. But they have got a chart here and there's a way downstairs, obviously it's not modelled, but a spiral staircase with a map of the area. Very cool. That is some attention to detail, isn't it? They must have let them in to come and have a look around and take photos to be able to do that. So we have departures. Very cool. And I guess this is arrivals then. So what have they done around the airport? There's various bits of buildings and road structure and road furniture. A tennis court, how random is that? Right next to the airfield. The monitors in the control tower would have been old radar displays, you know, green screen. Or vector monitors. I guess nobody watching this is old enough to have seen asteroids in the arcade, are they? With vector monitors. So let's go down the far end. Although we taxied past all of this, didn't we? But we didn't see the buildings behind. We'll turn we'll advance the time to get the lights to come on in a moment, see what it looks like at night time. I bet it looks spectacular. So absolute kudos to the developers for this one. This is awesome, isn't it? And they haven't gone over the top, so the frame rate is going to remain incredibly good because it's simple structures. They haven't gone, you know, off the deep end with modelling everything and anything. They've chosen where to invest the detail. That's a heck of a big hangar, isn't it? I'm guessing they have these shapes hangers because of the snow loading, so they have to go for arches. Let's play with the time then. See what this looks like at night. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So if we speed the drone up a little bit, what about in the early morning just before we finish off here? That's not bad, is it? And if it wasn't snowy, what would it look like? Have they actually... will those snowdrifts disappear? So if we went, switch live weather off, yeah, they've all vanished, look. How cool is that? So it's a different place in the sunshine, look. That is very clever. My plane hasn't thawed out just yet though, eh? And the forests stretch on and on and on. So there we go, that's Kiruna in the north of Sweden. Fantastic. Very nicely done. I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully I'll see you all again soon. So Kiruna is available as part of a triple pack at the moment from Orbx. So if you're interested, head over to orbxdirect.com and go and have a look. You get it with Scandinavian Mountain Airfield and Umeå. So yes, go have a look. See you again soon. Take care.